صباح الخير. My name is Roland Smith. أهلا بكم. I'm going to give you a short lesson. It's about 7 or 8 minutes long on Arabic poetry. Let's see. What I'm about to read is a poem from Classical Poems by Arab Women and explain why it's titled a bilingual anthology and not an anthology of translation. There's a difference. There's a big difference. It's written by Abdullah al-Udari, who is very prominent in terms of authorship and translation and a host of other literary talents. Actually, the goal of this lesson is to help you understand this poem to a point, then give you the tools you need to understand it fully on your own. Unfortunately, Manasif, I can't give you all the mufradat fi dunya because I don't have it. I'm not a native Arabic speaker. I can give you da'adat or tools to help you acquire rich vocabulary. It starts with your desire to use a root-based dictionary. Take a look at mine, okay? I'm not saying you have to get the nice copy of the Hans Beer, but I did because I use it all the time. Now look at it. You see all these little colored tabs? I need this because, one, I'm not a native speaker. Sometimes I want guidance alphabetically because it helps me get through these pages quickly. When I have a lot of work to do, you gotta work a little bit quicker, otherwise I'd be tied up all night, right? So, without further ado, I'm going to read the introduction to this poem. Here's the cover, in English, and then I'm going to read you the poem in Arabic. After I read you the poem in Arabic, I'm going to give you 3 examples why you should not rely on things like Google to translate exclusively. So, without further ado, أفضل أمشي. Maysoon was the wife of Caliph Muawiyah and the mother of his son and successor, the Caliph Yazid I, 645 to 683 al-Milad. Maysoon was a country girl who hated town life and its trappings, which is why this is one of my favorite poems, because I kind of feel the same way. لبيت تخفق الأرواح فيه أحب إلي من قصر المنيف وكلب ينبح الطراق عني أحب إلي من قط طلوفي ولبس عباء وتكرار عني أحب إلي من لبس الشفوف وكل كسرة في كسر بيتي أحب إلي من أكل الرغيف وأصوات الرياح بكل فج أحب إلي من نقر الضفوف وخرق من بن عمي نحيف أحب إلي من علاج نعليف خشونة عيشتي في البدو أشاه إلى نفسي من العيش الطريف في من بغى سوى وطني بديل فحسب ذلك من وطن شريف. Okay. Now the way this book works is it gives you line 1, this is line 1, line 2, line 2. But I'm going to give you 3 examples, starting with number 1, of why this is an anthology and not a translation. That's not to say that you can't use other people's representations and translations, but you cannot use them exclusively. 1. I'd rather be in a life-throbbing house than a tall palace. Well, the first line doesn't say life-throbbing, and it doesn't exactly use the word tall. Monifi is different, and it's here. But that's a different direction that I don't want to go in right now. Let's see, where was I? Actually, number 1 is sort of, number 1 and number 5 in English have switched places with number 1 and number 5 in Arabic. Because what number 1 is talking about, it's really talking about the wind blowing through the cracks. And the whole point of this poem is the lines on this side saying, I'd rather have something not so great than to be overwhelmed with the riches of the city. She'd rather have, a windy kind of broken house than be in a palace. 2. I'd rather have a lost dog calling travelers to my home than a pussycat. I'd rather have a pleasing smock than a chiffon dress. 3 is a good example. It's a different kind of example. Let me slow up a second. Let me ask you guys a question. Who do you think al-Udari is writing to? He's probably writing to someone that's alive. Who do you think Maysoon bin Bahdal was writing to? probably other women a long time ago. So يعني بين بعضهم البعض, or between themselves, there's a time difference, there's a period difference, there's an audience difference, and you get lubsa shafufi versus chiffon dress. One doesn't exist in one language, the other doesn't exist in the other. Chiffon's not exactly made out of wool either, so that's another reason. I'm not saying that this English sentence is bad or that the Arabic one is bad. I'm saying you can't rely on English translations exclusively. Let me just skip to number 8 in the interest of time. It's the last line. It says, فِمِنَ بَغَسُوَ وَتَنِي بَدِيلٍ فَحَسَبَ ذَلِكَ مِنْ وَتَنِي شَرِيفٍ. All I want to be is in my country home, and indeed it is a noble home. Think about this. There's only one sentence out of all of these. One sentence out of all of these. Here, the last one, and here, the last one, where you could actually rely on this translation almost word for word. That's the closest you're going to get. So, that's why. Let me give you a few tips, though. Since I know that you're going to go to Google anyway, and just say that you didn't. Go to wordreference.com. Wordreference.com is a little bit different. It's going to give you the word, its translation in a sentence, and you can also find plurals more easily on that website. If you can understand the word that you looked up in the Arabic sentence that it gives you, great. Then you've understood the word correctly, because native speakers update that. And then, just to be doubly sure, because everybody makes mistakes, including me, go to your Hansveer, look it up again, and then you will know that you are correctly using the word or terminology. In my next lesson, I will explain the format of how these roots are listed in this book. What the Roman numerals mean, off the top of my head. There will be Roman numerals 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the awzan al-fa'al. And how you can use this new knowledge as a tool to expanding your vocabulary synthetically. What I mean by synthetically, this is the beauty of the Arabic language, because it is possible to synthesize your own vocabulary. Mastering this will allow you to enrich your vocabulary the way native speakers have enriched theirs. And I think I'll close with this. Thank you for listening to me. Shukran alaykum. وهشوفك لما هشوفك مع السلامة والشرف لي.